Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning to everyone. I'm glad that we're here. It was a long night and early morning, but if you look up in the speakers gallery, you'll find a very distinguished group of men, women, and children, and they're friends of mine, and they are the family of our former Attorney General Jim Ryan. And I'm so glad that we've had the opportunity today in which we're going to pay tribute to Jim and have their family and their friends present here for this. I think this is the proper way for us to honor such a distinguished, outstanding man and a person who I called a personal friend. And if you see the picture of Jim in the front, you can see that he was a very distinguished, handsome man. And Marie, you would agree with that. And but he was just a wonderful person. So I'm going to start and say a few words. But again, thank you so much for joining us, family and friends of the Ryans. On June 12th of this year, the state of Illinois lost one of its greatest statesmen, a true gentleman, former Attorney General Jim Ryan. He valiantly fought a deadly disease to the end because that is what a true boxer and fighter does. For those of you who don't know, Jim Ryan was a Golden Glove champion back in the day. Born in Chicago, raised in Villa Park, Jim Ryan graduated from, for old guys like me, St. Procopius College. Anybody here ever heard of that? No, it's now Benedictine College. But octogenarians like me remember that. And he went on to attend Chicago Kent Law School. In 1984, Jim became the state's attorney of DuPage County, which prepared him to take on the role of Attorney General of Illinois in 1994. A post he would be reelected to in 1998. The Attorney General is the state's chief legal officer and is responsible for protecting the public interest of the state and its people. Jim was perfect for this role. He was a true practitioner of law, a fearless advocate for crime victims, a fierce defender of the little guy. Jim fulfilled the greatest responsibilities of this office with class, dignity, and as I said earlier, a profound respect for the rule of law. As a state, we need more Jim Ryans. Jim was the last Republican to win that office, but he was not a partisan. He sought counsel and collaboration from both sides. At times, Jim even upset other Republican lawmakers when he stood by decisions contrary to the desires of those in power within the Republican Party. I had this amazing privilege to know Jim both during and after his time as Attorney General. While I enjoyed every moment with him, what I find most amazing is that he never changed who he was. He did not let the celebrity or power of being in that office get to him. And that truly defines the statesman that Jim Ryan was. I'd like to share a personal story from 2005, which I don't even think the family knows. In early fall of that year, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. I was stunned, frightened, not quite sure how I was going to manage this, and I was going to have to prepare myself for very serious brain surgery. I wondered to myself whether I was going to wake up from this surgery. If I did, whether the tumor was malignant or benign. At the time of this diagnosis, I kept this information about my condition very limited. However, as I got closer to my surgery date, I called on Jim and I said, I'd like to meet you for breakfast. Egg Harbor in Hinsdale. You all know it. I did this because he had already fought and won a horrible battle with cancer. I called him under the pretense of discussing a political issue, but in reality, it was a chance for me to talk about my predicament. And to seek counsel as how he survived his own battle. He told me to say a certain prayer every day, one that I'd never heard before. So I did, and I'm here today. I'll never forget the grace that Jim showed me in that meeting. And to his family, thank you. I came out of the surgery with a benign tumor, lots of physical therapy ahead of me. I called Jim as he asked me to share the news that I was okay. And once again, he offered kind words and helped me through my recovery. Support like this is the personal connection I shared with Jim that made me so thankful to have him as a friend. Jim leaves behind an amazing West suburban Irish Catholic family. Now, it has been said about Irish Catholics, if you're married to one, which I am, it has often been said that you sleep with one eye open, and that is still true to the day. But Jim leaves his family behind, and with his wife Marie, but Jim and Marie lost two of their children, Annie and Patrick, way too early. But instead of closing down, as most parents probably do in these types of situations, in these tragedies, Marie and Jim founded two nonprofit organizations to help those who may have to walk that same path. The Annie Ryan fundraiser in Elmhurst is going strong on its 16th year, as is Patrick's main event fundraiser. Jim has now joined Annie and Patrick in heaven. He is survived by his high school sweetheart and the love of his life, Marie, and our three sons, John, Jim Jr., and Matthew, all successful but equally rambunctious boys, and you know what I'm talking about. And Marie, you know what I'm talking about as well. Right, Jimmy? Yes. Along with 11 grandchildren. So Marie, boys, spouses, grandchildren, and friends, thank you for sharing Jim with us, with DuPage County, and with the people of the state of Illinois. Jim will be forever part of the great history of this state, and may God continue to bless your family.